Hey traders, welcome back to another video here where we're going to specialize or focus in today on the metals market. We are going to be talking about precious metals like gold and silver here in today's video. I'm going to be doing some technical and fundamental analysis about what's been going on, what I've been paying attention to personally, and where I am at with my trading on these particular assets. So let's go ahead and jump in. First of all, just a bit of transparency. I am already long on the gold market here. I picked up a gold long position here on Friday's trading action. And this is from within my brokerage account on Webull where I trade gold. I just use ETFs to trade gold and silver if I'm going to be doing so, just because, again, that is a very liquid way, an easy way for American clients to do so. So I'm at, just got into this trade here. This is an interesting one for me here. And I want to go over this, why I am bullish on gold. A lot of people have been wondering, hey, what's been going on with the price of gold? Why is the price of gold down off of its highs? We had a really strong push to the upside here, made our way up to the 2050s and retreated off of those levels. Now, today's price action was very interesting because you had the dollar get very strong. Not only very strong, we were actually able to break out of a key level of resistance. When looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see this area was able to clear higher. This, of course, puts a lot of pressure on the gold and silver, the precious metals market. Of course, platinum is thrown in there as well. Just generally, we're going to be focusing more on gold and, of course, silver. Here's a quick look at the silver price, which this week took an absolute nosedive. You can see price broke to the downside here, clearing a key level of support for the bulls. And, this is very interesting because we will take a look closer at the price action of gold and silver in a moment. But I want to show you in terms of comparing the two. Notice how you had a big breakout to the downside here, a massive drop from the previous highs here that we had as of Thursday, May the 4th. You can see down 9% at one point. Well, if we compare gold, you can see that we did not have anywhere near a 9% drop. At one point, we were down about 3.2%. And I want to go over this, but first I'll show you the cross between the two. So if we look at gold crossed, you guys might not know you could do this on TradingView. It is an awesome platform for things like this. This is going to show us the comparison of gold relative to silver. And so you can see here that recently gold against silver specifically has exploded. Now, what this is showing you, this 83.88 mark, that's showing you that for 1 ounce of gold, it takes 83.884 right now ounces of silver. That's the way we can read this chart. So it's kind of an interesting one. So what is the outperformance here when taking a look at the price of gold and silver? Well, one thing that is telling is that this week, what put pressure on the metals market here from a fundamental perspective, the dollar was bullish. The US dollar was bullish due to some concerns about the debt ceiling that is going on here in the United States. We are, we're nearing our debt ceiling there, and the question will remain whether or not, how we are going to pay that. If we're going to lift the debt ceiling, there's going to be some debates there. And of course, people being fearful about debts not being paid back can have a very, concerning fear-based gauge in the markets. Now, in my opinion, this price action here is a little bit overdone to the downside. And part of the reason for that, I'll give you my bullish case on gold. The dollar shooting up here, I don't necessarily think that the debt ceiling stuff will be a tremendous continuation to the upside for the dollar market. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong, but here's a couple things that I think could also be positive to the price of gold. Regional banks. So in the United States, regional banks have been under a lot of pressure. That has been seriously concerning with rising interest rates. A lot of pressure has been put on regional banks, some of the smaller banks. Major banks are, quote unquote, too big to fail. They aren't necessarily in the target in the sights traders and investors are less focused on that, but regional banks are. We've had some collapses that has been a serious detriment. Also, the de-dollarization concerns. Many people have been talking and focusing very heavily on the de-dollarization concepts, right? BRICS nations, using other currencies, using their own currencies outside of the dollar, right? Potentially decoupling the oil trade that is so linked to the dollar, right? If that story continues to persist, the dollar could have some serious weakness, which of course I think would drive the price of gold to potentially new highs. And then of course also we had CPI and PPI inflation numbers, okay? These came out this week and both of them were sort of cooling. Well, they were cooling on a year-over-year basis, and I think that that has potential to also help carry the gold price higher. Now, same thing with silver. But one thing I want to talk about with this last one is that PPI specifically showed slowing in the producer area, okay, in terms of prices. Why does that matter? Well, silver of the two, for those of you guys who want a little bit of details in terms of gold versus silver, silver of the two is the more industrial commodity-esque of the two, right? Silver is used for a lot of industrial production, whether it be for phones or, devices or all sorts of tech uses tons of silver, right? Of course, there's use cases for gold too, but silver is the more commoditized version. If there's a recession fear that surfaces, silver would likely underperform the price of gold as we saw in 2020. So anyways, I want to keep going with this gold concept. Let's talk about technicals. So we broke out here recently and have pulled back, now seeing this 2,000 mark as a level of support. I am willing to try and take a stab at a long trade here, which is why I currently, as I showed you, I am long. So here's my broker. I have a long position open going into next week. We'll see if that can hold. Where am I viewing a potential target for this this gold move? Well, I'm thinking that we have very good possibilities of seeing this thing return back to this 2050 mark as we've been sort of trading in this range. I think it's very possible to get there. And any of those catalysts that I mentioned previously could help drive price action to get a breakout. At that point, again, I would be holding ideally the trade that I have here. I do have a stop loss here. If the market goes against me here, I'll stop out for a loss. But if the price is able to break higher going into the new week, I'll be watching for breakouts, pullbacks, etc. And again, I like to trail stops, as you guys may know if you watch my channel. So if we got something like this, right, my goal is I use higher lows when I'm buying. I use higher lows to try and trail a stop behind it after the clearing of a new high, right? So let's say, price shoots up here and I'm in the long trade. I'm not going to do anything, but once we sort of put in a new high, after putting in a low of some sort of a pullback, I'm going to go ahead and trail that stop loss into place just to take my risk off the table. And I'm going to rinse and repeat that method where, okay, we break out. Okay, cool. We got now a pullback. I want to see this thing now clear the highs again. And there it is. Great. Let's trail the stop again. That is how I manage trades. And you guys will see that if you're within our Discord channel. By the way, all of the commentary that I have here, when you get inside of the Discord channel, if you're not already inside there, you'll be able to see every trade that I am taking in full detail. I share breakdowns, explanations as to why I'm taking the trades, and much more. If you're not already in our Discord, I want to encourage you to come join us. If you're not in here, get involved. Again, we put in a ton of time, effort, research, and stuff into making these videos, into sharing analysis for traders, and we're looking to grow the community. So if you'd like to join us, I want to encourage you right now. There's a link down below in the description to access the VIP, and also you can get a discount by using code YTVIP. Again, if you're a fan of the channel, if you've been following along for a while, I want to encourage you to come join us inside of the Discord. You can see the trades being taken. You can get in on the chat rooms, educational stuff, and more. Now, let's go back to that silver concept for a second. Is silver a buy? Well, in my opinion, not as much, because I think that potentially what we're seeing is that the risk off pressures are having more impact on silver than they are on gold, right? Gold inherently has sort of some fear positive correlation in it, right? So if markets get more fearful, it tends to somewhat benefit in some case from that. But silver, not always the same case. Now, silver, a great hedge against events of like hyperinflation, where we saw runs up to $50 an ounce in the historically speaking, we've seen that happen a few times, but most of that due to hyperinflation fears. Regardless, right now what we're seeing is not necessarily that. We are seeing recessionary fears, and if that sort of persists, I don't necessarily have as much of a bullish outlook on silver in the short term. Now, if you're talking long term, perhaps from a more of a investing standpoint, I also don't really like buying silver here. I think you have plenty of room to fall, and if it does fall, I might look at it a little bit differently. But right now, I think short term, it seems that we've put in a double top here for the silver market. We've broken out of a key level of support. Technically, this does look bearish in my perspective. I think that we have more room to fall going into the coming days and weeks. We'll see how that plays out. But again, silver vastly underperforming gold right now, and we will keep an eye on this. If you guys enjoy my videos, please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button down below and subscribe. And last thing I'll say is, if you made it to the very end of my video, first of all, thank you. I really do genuinely appreciate you following along and keeping through all the way to the end of my video. But also, I want to ask you just to comment down below. Let me know that you made it to the end of this video, and I seriously do appreciate it. I know we're two different parts of the world right now. I'm talking to you through a camera and a screen recording and all that, but I do genuinely appreciate you for watching my videos, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Trade safe. See you next time.